Welcome back to Two Sense Unfiltered, where we strip away the fluff and dive straight into the truth. Today's topic? One that's close to my heart and one I believe the world doesn't appreciate nearly enough. Why the United Kingdom remains one of the greatest countries in human history. From ancient England's tribal beginnings to the industrial might of Victorian Britain, through world wars, colonial reckoning, and modern reinvention, the UK has shaped our world in ways few nations ever have. For better, and yes, sometimes for worse. But that's what makes greatness real. The ability to stumble, confront your flaws, and rise stronger. The roots, ancient England and the birth of a nation. Before the cathedrals, before Parliament, before even the English language, there were the Celts, the Angles, and the Saxons. England wasn't born in a day. It was forged through centuries of invasion, adaptation, and resilience. The Roman occupation brought roads, cities, and law, laying the first foundation of order. Then came the Anglo-Saxons, giving England its very name, Anglaland. And when Vikings raided and conquered, instead of being destroyed, the English absorbed their ferocity and ingenuity. That adaptability, the ability to take the best from others and make it their own, would become the DNA of the British identity. Then came 1066, the Norman Conquest, a single date that rewrote history. From it emerged a new ruling class, a language fused with French and Latin, and a legal system that would become the backbone of Western justice. By the 12th century, England wasn't just surviving, it was evolving. The Magna Carta of 1215 wasn't perfect, but it was revolutionary, a king bound by law, and the seed of constitutional liberty. The UK's greatness didn't start with an empire, it started with the rule of law and the idea that power must answer to principle. A Renaissance and the rise of a global power. Fast forward to the 15th and 16th centuries, the age of exploration and enlightenment. Britain wasn't the biggest or richest country in Europe, but it had something others didn't: curiosity and courage. Names like Francis Drake, Walter Raleigh, and Captain Cook became synonymous with exploration. The Elizabethan era blended adventure with art. Shakespeare gave voice to the human condition, and his language became the world's language. But here's the key. Britain didn't just conquer territory, it conquered ideas. The Royal Society, founded in 1660, made science a public pursuit. Newton's laws didn't just describe gravity, they anchored a mindset, reason, discovery, order. The British Navy, disciplined, strategic, relentless, became the strongest in the world. But this wasn't just military muscle. It was a mindset of organization and innovation that would soon fuel the Industrial Revolution. The empire, glory, and shadows. You can't tell the story of British greatness without confronting the empire, the largest the world has ever seen. At its height, 1/4 of the globe was painted British red. On one hand, the empire built global trade routes, spread English law, education, and infrastructure. It connected India, Africa, the Caribbean, and beyond in ways that transformed global civilization. On the other, it brought exploitation, arrogance, and pain. The transatlantic slave trade, colonial domination, and economic extraction left deep scars still visible today. But here's what sets the UK apart. It didn't stay blind to its wrongs. Unlike many empires that vanished in denial, Britain went through a painful reckoning. Abolitionists like William Wilberforce and Thomas Clarkson fought to end the slave trade, and won. That moral courage mattered. The same system that built an empire found within itself the conscience to challenge it. That contradiction, ambition versus conscience, is the eternal struggle of every great power, and Britain learned from it, slowly, imperfectly, but undeniably. The Industrial Revolution, the engine of modern civilization. If there's one era that stamped Britain's greatness on the map forever, it's this, the Industrial Revolution. From James Watt's steam engine to George Stephenson's locomotive, from the spinning jenny to the telegraph, Britain didn't just invent machines, it invented modern society. Factories, railways, bridges, global shipping, all powered by British innovation. Manchester, Birmingham, and Glasgow weren't just cities, they were the world's workshop. But again, the greatness came with lessons. Child labor, pollution, inequality. Britain's boom came at a human cost. Yet the genius of the nation was in recognizing its flaws. Reformers like Charles Dickens, Robert Peel, and the Chartists pushed for labor laws, education, and suffrage. The reform movements of the 19th century turned industrial might into social progress, and Britain became a blueprint for democracy, capitalism, and conscience coexisting. The wars that tested the soul. No century tested Britain's character more than the 20th, 2 world wars, 2 moments where the fate of civilization truly hung in the balance. In World War I, the nation lost nearly 1 million soldiers, the flower of a generation. In World War II, it faced annihilation from Nazi tyranny, but under Winston Churchill, the British spirit refused to bow. The "we shall never surrender" speech wasn't rhetoric, it was the collective heartbeat of a people. The Blitz turned cities to rubble, but out of that rubble rose resilience, neighbors helping neighbors, defiance in the face of despair. And when the empire faded after the war, Britain didn't collapse. It reinvented itself. It built the National Health Service, expanded education, and became a leader in culture, finance, and technology. From the Beatles to Alan Turing, from Queen Elizabeth II's diplomacy to the fight for equality and modern governance, Britain evolved, not perfectly, but purposefully. Modern UK, innovation, culture, and enduring greatness. Today's UK stands not as an empire, but as a beacon of democracy, creativity, and resilience. Think about it. The English language, the global lingua franca, British science and universities, Oxford, Cambridge, Imperial, still among the best in the world. Pop culture, from the Beatles to Adele, James Bond to Harry Potter. Engineering and technology, Rolls-Royce engines, BAE Systems defense innovations, quantum computing research. Rule of law, monarchy, and parliament, institutions still admired and imitated worldwide. Yes, the UK has challenges, immigration debates, regional divides, post-Brexit identity crises, but even in turbulence, Britain debates with civility, intellect, and freedom. A rare thing in today's world. The mark of greatness isn't perfection, it's endurance. And through every invasion, revolution, bomb, and protest, Britain has endured, the legacy of a nation. So, why is the UK one of the greatest countries in history? Because it's a story of transformation. From tribal warriors to constitutional monarchs, from empire to democracy, from industrial smoke to digital innovation. Because it taught the world that law can tame power, that knowledge can overcome ignorance, and that conscience can correct ambition. Britain's greatness isn't just in its past, it's in its capacity to reflect, adapt, and evolve. So the next time you see those old stone cathedrals, or hear the accent of Shakespeare's tongue, or watch the Union Jack flutter against the rain, remember, that's not just a flag, that's a symbol of nearly 2,000 years of human progress, painful, glorious, imperfect, but utterly unbroken. This is Two Sense Unfiltered. I'm your host, Carrie, reminding you, greatness isn't given, it's built, brick by brick, law by law, and generation by generation. Thanks for listening. Hope you all liked today's video. Please subscribe and like the channel. Thank you.